What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cam show. We got college football in the playoffs, baby. I love it. The best time of the year for college football. But first of all, I want to start off with my team, Notre Dame. Is Notre Dame going to continue the same story year after year, make it to the big game and lose every single time, bro? It's happened year after year. You know, let's rewind the clocks here. Let's go back to 2012-2013 season of college football. What happened? Notre Dame ran the table, had a great season with Manti Te'o, their savior. Their savior. Did they go to the national championship against Alabama and get completely embarrassed and destroyed on national television? And then let's fast forward a couple years later. They ended up playing Clemson in the playoffs in what, 17 or 18? And then they get embarrassed. And then let's fast forward to a couple weeks ago. Notre Dame plays Clemson in the ACC championship game and yet gets embarrassed again. So here's my thing with Notre Dame Fighting Irish tomorrow. You guys had the biggest game yet for Coach Kelly and company. Yes, and I'm telling you what right now. For Alabama, they're coming in at 19.5-point favorites. Probably will change to 20, 21 come game time. But I will tell you, me being a diehard Notre Dame fan, this isn't the Alabama team that we're used to seeing. I say that because they don't have the best defense and offensive line. Alabama doesn't have that explosive offensive and defensive line like they're used to. Like the 2013 National Championship Alabama, their defense and offensive line were so much better than the Alabama right now, present day 2020. So to me, it's just like, you know, there's a big difference in obviously Notre Dame. They're going to have to, this is how Notre Dame's going to win the game, is keep Mac Jones, Harris, and Devontae Smith off the field. Keep Alabama's offense off the field. And if Ian Book's going to play great, you got to throw the ball down the field, and Williams has to run the ball. Notre Dame needs to utilize the run. You know, go to the basics. That's how Notre Dame had a great season this year, was because of their run game. Utilize that play action from Ian Book. That's how you're going to beat Alabama. Now, Alabama, you know, they're undefeated. They're the team to beat, no doubt about it. You know, Mac Jones, 32 touchdowns and only 4 picks this year. I mean, crazy numbers. Harris, over 1,200 yards rushing with 24 touchdowns. And then Devontae Smith, 99 receptions, over 1,500 yards receiving, and 17 touchdowns. Crazy. And I'm telling you right now that I don't think this is going to be a blowout game. And I've said, you know, Notre Dame's got embarrassed year after year. It's been since 1988 since Notre Dame has won a national championship. You know, that's so long ago, bro. That is so long ago. You know, this is a Rose Bowl game. It's the playoffs. You know, it's all or nothing right now for Notre Dame. And Coach Kelly, if I'm Coach Kelly and I'm telling Notre Dame right now, this is how we win the game. You keep Alabama's offense off the field. So to Williams and Book, this is their biggest games. These two right here. If Williams rushes for over 100 yards with a couple of rushing touchdowns, absolutely Notre Dame's in this game. They're going to have to win by quarters. And the best chance for Notre Dame is to start off fast. And what I mean by that, if Notre Dame gets in the red zone, you guys have to score touchdowns. You know, if you guys kick field goals in the red zone, it's over. It's over. The script is done. You know, you have to score touchdowns against Bama. So if I'm Coach Kelly and I'm in the red zone, 4th and 5, 4th and 6, even 4th and 10, if I'm Notre Dame, I know it sounds crazy, but you got to go for it. Yeah, Coach Kelly, and I expect him to do that. If it's 4th and 7 inside the red zone, you know, say on the 17-yard line, and it's the opening drive. I'm telling Notre Dame right now, we are playing 4-down territory here. We're not going to beat Alabama kicking field goals. We're not. So to win up front. So that's my whole ideal. Now, who am I going to pick? I would love to see Notre Dame win, but I got to go Alabama. I had to pick Alabama in this. It's just, it makes more sense to me. Alabama, yes, I get it on paper. They're so much better, but anything can happen. Anything's possible. But like I said, Notre Dame, this is a massive game for you. And Coach Kelly, I want the troops to be ready. I just don't want Notre Dame to get blown out. If Notre Dame loses by 10 points in a close game in the fourth quarter, I won't even be mad. I'll be like, you know what, Coach Kelly, the season was a success. Obviously, you guys didn't win a national championship, but you guys proved to me that you can really compete against the best of the best. Alabama, the top of the food chain. So to me, Notre Dame, they got to come out and hit Alabama in the face. You know, if I'm also Coach Kelly, I'm saying we want to receive for the second half. You know, all these things start to add up. So to me, obviously, yes, I get it. You know, 65.5 is the over-under. They're telling us this is going to be a high-scoring game. In Notre Dame, they got to win up front. Their front seven has to put pressure on Mac Jones, has to stop Harris. And Notre Dame's secondary is a big question mark right now. They got exploded against Trevor Lawrence and Clemson really bad. So to me, it's just like, what's going to happen? I have no clue. Obviously, a lot of people are saying Notre Dame's going to get blown out, but I really think Notre Dame's going to surprise some people tomorrow. I really do. I think Notre Dame's going to come out and fight and go balls to the wall, which they should. Like I said, red zone play is huge for Notre Dame. If they score touchdowns and not field goals, they're in this game. But I'm going Alabama. 19.5, I believe, is a little too much. So if you guys are going Bama, go money line. Unless you're feeling super confident. A lot of people are saying, 19, 20 points, I'll take that. To me, that's just like really disrespecting Notre Dame and Coach Kelly. So to me, I want to see Ian Book and Williams get the running game going. And Notre Dame's offensive line is good. It really is. It's good. It's just, can Ian Book play to that level? That next level. I haven't seen him yet, so it's going to be a test, but I'm going Alabama money line all day. Then we got Georgia versus Cincinnati, the Chick-fil-A Bowl. This is another great game. I love this. Georgia's coming in at 7.5-point favorites. It makes sense. Georgia's got the SEC harder schedule, no doubt about it. But I will tell you, with Cincinnati, what they got going for them is their quarterback, Desmond Ridder, and Dokes, their running back. These two guys right now, it makes sense why they're undefeated because of these guys. Desmond Ridder, over 2,000 yards passing this season, 17 touchdowns and only 6 picks. Crazy. He's putting up crazy numbers. Dokes, 673 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. Great, right? Great, but all around, yes, I get it. Georgia, the better team, better athletes. But you know what? I'm going with the upset pick here. I'm going with Cincinnati. I'm going with the underdog. The Georgia 7.5. I think that's a little too much. Now, if Georgia was 5.5, I would have really went with Georgia. But they're telling us Georgia's going to really beat them by at least 7.5, which is crazy to me because Cincinnati can put up crazy numbers. They can score on anybody in the country. I do believe that. 100%. That's why I'm going Cincinnati's because of Dokes and Desmond Ridder. These two are the playmakers. And if they play to their ability like they've been doing all year, they are going to win this game in upset. And if my prediction is right, I would have said, you know what? Cincinnati should have got the 4th seed. Really. Cincinnati should have been playing Alabama. Now, let's say Cincinnati does beat Georgia and beats them by over 20 points. What are you guys going to say then? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to say? Are you going to be like, you know what, Cap, you're right. You know what I'm saying? You are completely right. I was wrong with Cincinnati. Now, when Cincinnati loses, obviously I look dumb. But I think Cincinnati should have gotten that 4th seed. But Cincinnati Bearcats will be the Chick-fil-A Bowl champions, baby. You guys mark my words. 51.5 is the over-under. You guys can decide that. I would lean more towards the over in that one. I really would because, like I said, Desmond, he can put up crazy numbers. I'm going with Cincinnati Bearcats with the upset. Then we got Auburn versus Northwestern. Northwestern coming in with 4-point favorites. Auburn, they're just not the same team right now. Bo Nix, he had a pretty decent season, over 2,000 yards passing, 11 touchdowns and 7 picks. Tank Bigsby, 834 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. Obviously, yes, it's pretty good numbers, right? But Auburn's record is not that good. They played SEC school after SEC school, right? But they just kept coming up short. Now, Northwestern, Peyton Ramsey, he's the difference maker right here. 9 touchdowns, 8 picks throughout the year, about 1,500 yards passing. I think Northwestern wins if he plays great, and really puts pressure on Bo in Auburn. But I think, overall, I would love to see Big Ten team win in Northwestern, but I'm going Auburn here. I think Auburn's going to squeak it out. I think this game's going to be really close. I think Auburn wins by a field goal or maybe 4 points. So I'd go Auburn. 43.5 is the over-under. You guys can decide that. I would lean more towards the over. I really think they're going to throw the ball out here. I want to see Northwestern throw the ball down the field. Like I said, I would love to see Northwestern win, but I'm going with Auburn with the upset. Then we got Ohio State versus Clemson, baby. I love this. This is the biggest matchup all weekend, baby. This game right here. Ohio State and Clemson. Clemson coming in at 7.5-point favorites to All-State Sugar Bowl. This is great. Now, a lot of people are mad that Ohio State get in because they only played 5 or 6 games this season. Stop that. Ohio State will win this game, and it boils down to Justin Fields if they win this game. It boils down to Justin Fields. 1,500 yards over 1,500 yards passing with 15 touchdowns and only 5 picks. Trey Sermon, he's got 675 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Now, if Ohio State wants to beat Clemson, they got to keep Trevor Lawrence off the field and keep Justin Fields on the field most of the game. That's how you're going to beat Clemson, dude. For real. Like, Justin Fields, he has to have a game. We saw what happened last year. They played the same scenario. They're coming down the field, and I really think Justin Fields and his receiver had a miscommunication. They did, because I believe the receiver was supposed to run a deep post. Anyway, Fields threw it in, which I don't know. It was a miscommunication, and he ended up throwing a pick. Justin ended up throwing a pick to Clemson, and Clemson ended up closing it out. And then we saw what happened. Clemson lost to LSU in the championship. But Ohio State, they're close. They're right there. Obviously, they can compete against Clemson. This is going to be a crazy game. Now, if you're going Clemson, I would go money line. 7.5 is a little too much to me. It really is. I think Clemson, obviously Trevor Lawrence, future number 1 draft pick in 2021 draft. No doubt about it. He is the future. He will get chosen by Jacksonville Jaguars. His destiny's already written off. Even if he loses. If he loses to Ohio State, it doesn't matter. But I think it's really going to help his resume, obviously, if he wins. Trevor Lawrence, 22 touchdowns and only 4 picks this year. The running back, Travis, he's got 882 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns. Both of these players right there, they will go to the pros next year. They will get drafted in the 2021 draft at some point with Travis, the running back. I do believe that. But overall, Trevor Lawrence, he's the money man. He's the number 1. He's the lottery pick. And I wish the Colts would have tagged to get him. I really think he has more upside than Andrew Luck. I really do. Because of his passion of the game. Really, to be honest, I love this kid, dude. Trevor Lawrence, he's a future superstar. And so many people do not see it. They're like, oh, he's in a good program right now. But with him going to Jacksonville, better than New York Jets. No doubt, better than New York Jets. So I love this. So to me, I'm going with Clemson. I hate to do it. I hate to go against Ohio State. I hate Ohio State, though. I kind of want to see Ohio State with the upset pick, but I'm going with Clemson. I'll go Clemson money line here. I'll go Clemson all day money line. It's just, to me, Ohio State, I get it. Kind of similar team as last year. Same quarterback in Justin Fields. I get that. I 100% get that. I feel it. But at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence and Clemson, they're on a roll right now, and I really do think it's going to be Clemson and Bama in the championship. I wouldn't even be mad if it was Bama Ohio State or Clemson and Notre Dame. That'd be crazy, right? It'd be a long shot for Notre Dame to get in to the national championship. But look, dude, I'm going with Clemson. I think Trevor Lawrence is too much, and that's really what separates it. Now, if Clemson does get upset, it's because of Justin Fields threw for like 4 or 5 touchdowns. Played no interceptions. Ohio State played flawlessly, played great. Made explosive plays after play. But I do believe this is going to be a close game. This is going to go down to the wire, but ultimately I'm going money line, Clemson Tigers, baby, and Trevor Lawrence. This is the biggest game of them all, baby. I cannot freaking wait. Then we got Ole Miss versus IU on the Saturday game. It's crazy to me. IU, they play Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 4-5. To me, they got screwed over. IU should be playing a better team than 4-5, dude. A team that's under 500, they're going to really do that to IU. We're talking IU. They lost by a touchdown to Ohio State at Ohio State this year. So to me, it makes no sense. I don't know what the NCAA is thinking. I think a lot of it is political. Obviously, Michael Penix Jr. out for season. He will be back in 2021 better than ever, and I cannot wait till that happens for IU. Now, Jack Tuckle, their backup versus Wisconsin, he had 130 yards and 2 touchdowns versus Wisconsin and the win. So got the win. Matt Carroll, Ole Miss's quarterback, he's got 27 touchdowns and 14 interceptions, almost 3,000 yards passing. So obviously, Ole Miss can put up numbers. No doubt about it. Elijah Moore, 86 receptions on 1,193 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. I mean, Ole Miss can put up crazy numbers. I got to go IU, though. I'm from Indiana. It makes sense. I got to go IU. 8 points is a little too much. I'm going money line. I think the point spreads in this playoffs is just crazy to me. It really is. So I'm going IU. Now, Ole Miss can easily upset him. No doubt about it. If Ole Miss wins this game, it's because they throw the ball out and they're just scoring crazy touchdowns, and IU secondary cannot stop them. That's how Ole Miss will beat IU. Vice versa, but I got to go IU. They're just on a roll, and I want to see IU win at the end of the season, the final game. I want to see them win, baby. I really do think they can. So to me, I'm going IU over Ole Miss, baby. 65 is the over-under. They're telling us it's going to be a high-scoring game, but, ultimately I'm going to go with the under here. 100%. I'm going with the under. I just think it's going to be a little bit low scoring than what we think, but I really do think they're going to throw the ball out and air it out. But I got to go IU, and I wouldn't be surprised if IU loses because Michael Penix Jr. is out for the season. You know what I'm saying? So, which is bad, but I'm going IU, baby. IU, please win it for me. Upset them, baby. I mean, it really wouldn't be an upset because they're favorite, but to me, it feels like an upset because it's like, when was the last time IU won a bowl game in football? It's been decades, bro. It's been years. It's so long. To me, it's crazy, but I'm going IU, baby. Let's go. Then we got Oregon versus Iowa State in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. Look, this is a coin flip game as well. I mean, Iowa State, they've had a great season this year. They're coming in 4.5-point favorites. And you know what? Oregon, I know a little bit about Oregon. Their quarterback, Tyler, he's got about 1,500 yards passing with 13 touchdowns and only 5 picks. Really good season this year. No doubt about it. Travis Dye, their running back, 391 yards and 1 touchdown. Obviously, Oregon didn't play a lot of games like Iowa State, but Iowa State, the X factor is their running back in Breece Hall. Almost 1,500 yards rushing and 19 touchdowns. To me, Iowa State wins this game if he rushes for over 100 yards and keeps the ball out of Oregon's hands. Really, that's how they win. And Brock, I want to see him. Brock Purdy, he had a great season as well. Over 2,500 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, and 9 picks. But overall, the X factor, like I said, is Breece Hall. It really boils down to him. If he rushes for over 100 yards, like I said, they will get the dub, and therefore I'm going Iowa State. I've seen Iowa State play throughout the year. I've only seen Oregon a couple times. You know, it's not the same, obviously, Oregon team that we seen in 2010 where they went to the national championship and lost to Auburn and Cam Newton. But, you know, they can still score at will, no doubt about it. But ultimately, I'm going to Iowa State because I feel like they're more experienced and they can just throw the ball down the field and obviously run with Breece Hall. That's the X factor. I'm going Iowa State here at 4.5. I'll take the spread. Then we got Texas A&M versus North Carolina. Texas A&M, yes, they're mad that they didn't get the 4th spot. Stop it. You guys got blown out by Bama earlier in the year. You guys got embarrassed. It was like 50-something to like 20, dude. It was an embarrassing game. You guys lost by over 30 points. So to me, it made sense that Texas A&M should not be the 4th seed into the playoffs. You get my drift? You catch it? Because they should not. No doubt about it. Kellen Mond, a great season this year, the quarterback for Texas A&M. Over 2,000 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. Isaiah Spiller, almost 1,000 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. Obviously, Texas A&M wins if they just keep doing what they've been doing all season. Score, score, and score. For real. Obviously, I feel like they can, but North Carolina, they're a similar team like Texas A&M. They can score as well. Sam Howell, he's got 3,352 yards passing, dude. That's crazy. 27 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Mike Carter, the running back, he's got over 1,200 yards rushing, 9 touchdowns on 156 carries this season. So to me, you know, a lot of people are going Texas A&M, but you know what? I'm going to flip the script. I'm going with the upset North Carolina. I think North Carolina has just a little bit better offense. I know it sounds crazy. Texas A&M, one of the best offenses in the country, in the NCAA right now. No doubt about it. They do. But you know what? Texas A&M, 7.5-point favorites. I'm going with the dog. I expect North Carolina to come out and Sam to throw the ball and really exploit Texas A&M's weak secondary. That's how they're going to win. And you know, this is the Orange Bowl, baby. Capital One Orange Bowl. And I'm going with the upset. You guys heard it from Cab. No Cab. I'm going North Carolina over Texas A&M. You guys heard it from me. But really some huge games in the playoffs. This is the best time for college football right now. I love it so much. I love it. Obviously, like I said, Ohio State, Clemson, the biggest game of them all. This is the game right now. No doubt about it. And I think, like I said, dated back, if Justin Fields plays great, this game is going to go down to the wire. Just like it did last year, dude. It went down to the wire last year, and it was just like, what is going to happen, dude? For real, this is great. I cannot wait. Obviously, I'm going Clemson in that playoff. And then the big game, Notre Dame and Bama. Like I said, Coach Kelly, Notre Dame, I hope you guys got the troops ready because I want to see Notre Dame with the upset. But like I said, I'm betting with my mind and not my heart. So I'm going with Bama. I'll take I feel like 19.5 is too much. much, but like I said, it's the same story year in and year out for Notre Dame. They get to the big game and get embarrassed. Brian Kelly, Coach Kelly, proved to me wrong that you guys could beat Bama, that you guys could really beat the better team. Come on, Coach Kelly. I want to see it. I want to see it. I want them fired up. I want Notre Dame to prove something to me. I want them to come out and hit them hard. I want to hit them so hard that Alabama really reconsiders what they're doing against Notre Dame. That's what I want Notre Dame to do. But like I said, year in and year out, it's not been like that. It isn't. It's been embarrassing. But obviously, my upset picks of the week are Cincinnati over Georgia and North Carolina over Texas A&M, baby. I cannot wait. It's the playoffs. It's the Cloud and Cow Show. Let's go!